whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. How do you think about stress? Is it your friend or is it your enemy? I've had a lot of stress over a long career, and at an early stage, I started to try and figure out whether stress was good or bad. And I've come to the conclusion, for me, it's good. And it's good for this reason. It's good because I see it as a spur to action. I don't see it as something to run away from. So let's have a look at the anatomy of stress. Why do we get stressed? I think there's probably three major situations that we get stressed in. And I'll talk about each of those. The first one is we get overcommitted or out of control. The second one is that we're not sure what we should be doing, particularly in a work situation. And the third one is just huge uncertainty. So let me talk about each of those individually. We all take on things that are more than we've got the capability of doing. I know I do it all the time. And we commit ourselves and say, yes, we'll do that because it's out there in the future. It doesn't seem to be as real or as difficult as it will be when we get to it. Other things come along, people ask us to do things. We don't have the capability to say no an awful lot of the time. And because no is a hard thing. If you want to stay in control of your life, very often you do have to say no. But what do you do if you end up being overcommitted? Well, ask yourself what your priorities are. What's important to you? And why are you doing the things that you're doing? Write them down. Put them in your diary. Schedule them. And say to yourself, be realistic about what you can actually achieve. And then say, what are the important things? What's urgent, what's pressing, what's important? And break them down into what's important and urgent and what's important and not urgent. And forget about the things that are not important. Prioritize them in the diary, schedule them out, and you'll find that there will be things then that you just got to say no to, and go back to the people that you've committed to and say, look, I can't get that done, or it's going to have to wait until these other things are done. But know what your priorities are. Second reason we get stressed, or sometimes you get stressed, is that you're not sure what you're doing. And this often happens in a work situation where somebody says to you, will you do this project for me? Or will you take that on? Or will you write this report? Or will you investigate this? And particularly when you're younger and they're very much more senior than you, you often say, sure, I'll do that. But very often, what's important to do is to say, I'm not really sure what this is about, or can you explain to me what the project is? And get involved in, what do you want out of this? How much do you want me to go into detail on it? What are you looking for? What's your objective with this project? What do you want me to investigate? What do you not want me to investigate? What's your feeling on what the outcome is likely to be? Or what are you asking me to demonstrate or show by doing this, or to prove or to disprove? And the more curious you are about what's in their mind and what the structure of this might look like and what the end result they want, well, then the better the chance you're going to have to be able to actually complete the project. But the most important thing is, don't spin your wheels wondering what they have in their head. Because if you spin your wheels wondering what they have in their head, the likelihood is you're going to end up going back with the wrong product and completely wasting your time. Be curious, ask questions, and don't be afraid to demonstrate that you're not sure what is being asked. Because if you're afraid to do that, you're definitely in a wheel spin and you are going to get stressed. The third thing that will stress people is uncertainty. And that's the risk that something is going to happen that's going to affect you in a negative way. Well, ask yourself, how do you get in control of that situation? there are probably things that you can do to mitigate the worst outcomes of the things that go wrong. And if there are things that you can do, well, then you should be doing them. And if there aren't things that you can do, well, then there's nothing you can do. So what's the point about getting stressed about things that there's nothing you can do? So think about control and break your problem down into what are the controllables, or are there any controllables, or what are the mitigants if something that is bad goes wrong? When you get into a difficult situation and life changes, you've got to change with it. And there's no point in hanging on to the life that you had. You've got to leave that behind you. Face up to the things that you've got to face up to. And they will be not as bad as you think they are. That's how I deal with uncertainty. So I see stress as my friend. I see it as a spur to action. I see it as a prompt to be doing what I should be doing. And I see it as something that is telling me that I'm not fully in control, or I'm not sure what I'm doing. So stress is my friend rather than my enemy. And remember that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.